Hey, listen, in order for this show to exist, we need sponsors, and our presenting sponsor is Land O'Lakes Food Service. One of the reasons I am so honored to work with them is the fact that they work with over 1,000 farms that make up this cooperative and also bring wonderful products to life. The extra melt line of cheese, the loaves, the shreds, and the blocks. These are so versatile. They're labor saving. This is American cheese that is a great base flavor for so many things. It's adaptable. And, Land O'Lakes has shown their adaptability by sponsoring me. The message is clear. They support our industry, and in turn, let's support Land O'Lakes Food Service. Buy some of those extra melt lines of American cheese for your restaurant today. Hey, it's Niver, and this is Niver Niver Land. Thanks for joining us. Today on the show, Linda Cao and Bian from Saturday Dumpling Co. Listen, these are folks that had a restaurant born out of a difficult time in COVID. You'll hear a little bit about the path. These folks never opened a restaurant, and now they did. It's important that we keep the electricity and the innovation and the pressure on our smart people desiring to open and do fun new food concepts. These two are part of that revolution here in the city, and we need more just like them. Linda and Peter from Saturday Dumpling Company here in Minneapolis, and also here on Niver Niver Land. But you have to look at his face and think, hey, Peter's the guy. He should be the face. No offense, you are beautiful, but he likes the attention in a way, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do I?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you dress really well, so you take care of the part. You both do, by the way. You take care of the part well. There is a part to play. There is a persona. There is an absolute connection between the things you do, the collaborations, your face next to her face, your face, and your face next to Gavin, or all these other people you've done a collaboration with. I think that's the activity there is got to be tiring, but those collaborations and using your face and those other faces and people that build your community.
Yeah.
Hello, that's the essence.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And the
that's down the list here, but I know what a hustle that is.
Yeah.
You guys, like, I don't do that. I will, and I need to more. I've been told I need to do more. Like when I have been exhausted.
Yeah.
Like you give every day. There's not so much cake left at the end of the day for yourself to eat, Like, so wow, I've spent my career, I'm realizing now, is on my time off, I was just fucking recuperating.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need that time.
Are you good at that?
No.
I don't think any
business too,
restaurateur
like-
is good at that, to be honest, or any business owner of any industry. I also feel like when we started the company, like neither of us had any background or knowledge in food at all. Like I came from a social media and influencer partnership background. My last role was at Aveda, where I hired celebrity ambassadors on behalf of Aveda to talk about how super dark green granola they are. And Peter's background was in healthcare and owning an independent MRI clinic, right? So it truly just was created out of this love for food and sharing our history and our, the things that we grew up with that were sources of comfort, especially during COVID. And so it just started off as dropping off care packages to our friends' front porches, and everybody needed a little bit more comfort during that time. And it was also something that we talked about for many, many years before COVID even happened, of it'd be so nice if there was a handmade dumpling shop in Minneapolis, similar to the ones you'd see all over Chinatowns in New York and LA and San Francisco and London, everywhere else in the world. And so we finally had time on our hands in 2020 to do it.
I love it.
And then he posted on Instagram and was like, hey, I'm making dumplings. Does anybody want to buy any? And, it just really snowballed from there. So that's kind of how it started. But it was a really great way to connect with community in a time when everyone felt so separated and isolated.
How long did it take you to name it?
I probably came up with it in like a day.
After you started making dumplings, though, like when was when you started making dumplings, before you started making dumplings, did you know you were going to call it SDC?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
And that was
how
intentional.
long were you making?
It was like a week or two.
Yeah.
Oh, so not very long. You're like, okay, this is real.
I think one of the hardest parts about starting a business is actually getting started, right?
Yeah.
Where like people are just like, you second guess yourself and you doubt yourself. And I told Peter, I was like, don't wait for the brand. Like I've done this so many times when I worked at an ad agency where you want to do it the right way. But like when it's something it's a passion project that comes just like from your heart. Like you don't have to think all of those things through. You don't have the budget either to be able to like hire a designer right off the bat. First step is proof of concept. Is this something that people want before you invest money into it? So I told him, I was like, just throw it on your Instagram page. He had like 300 personal friends, you know, and like the people who we had been dropping off these dumpling care packages to their front porches, they were all saying, you guys should really sell these. Like, I would love to just have dumplings all the time in my life. And this was also a year after COVID had started. So everyone was just fatigued of trying to think of the next thing they were going to make for themselves at home. And so it was like you run
out of stuff.
Oh, yeah. So it was like a novel food item for them to have on hand and easy to make. And it feels like.
Do they feel easy to make still?
It's
now
gotten.
We got a team.
Yeah, now it's it's a lot easier now.
Mm-hmm.
But that
I
was
used to fill pizza boxes.
Yeah,
and I had them out in my 3-season porch.
Yeah, pretty good at it.
You know, I got some carpal too. You know, like some of the things you don't realize you're going to end up doing.
Oh yeah,
for
you
sure. Know, like you end up doing it. You end up doing it all.
Yep.
Admirable though. So like to me, there is a distinct kind of separation, obviously, between pre-COVID, the middle of COVID, and then what's been happening afterwards. I really was fascinated by what became popular and what is popular now.
I agree.
Since then. I am so fucking fascinated with it. And then how things have evolved out, you know, the chefdom has evolved out into the show. That your skills with a knife are important and people can see through it if you know you're not like a chef, but if you can have a certain personality on whatever level, even whether it's like a hack video or, you know, people just kind of like doing shit talking, like there's just a whole bunch of avenues now that weren't really there like this. Sponsorship deals. It's a very interesting time. So when you started your business, you didn't really, I guess, understand exactly what was going to roll out. Like everybody was guessing in a way, but your feeling was strong enough, even though everything else was so whack in the world, that you did it anyway. On your prompting, or were you like, or was it like, yes?
I think we were at a time where something like this felt safe.
Were you working?
You know,
at that time?
I wasn't working.
Okay, you got out of that. Okay.
I got out of my other company, the independent MRI company, that I was working with a couple of doctors. It was a good 10 years. And then 2019, I decided to sell my stake because we had just gotten married and I was just working, 60, 70 hour weeks. And we decided to both kind of sunset our projects and take a gap year, a retirement year in our 30s, which was a great idea. We traveled a bunch. A couple of friends got married in different countries. We went to a bunch of new cities in the US that we hadn't been, ate around. And then 2020 hit and it was another gap year. You know?
In hindsight, that really worked out for us, where 2019 truly prepared us for what was to come in 2020.
Yeah.
I feel like
the
a
way
lot of
you
people.
Were living, how you were
like
and
we had
were
already
together all the time.
Yes.
Where you hear about all these stories during COVID of couples breaking up because they can't stand each other, and like we figure that part out.
We had trained ourselves how to slow down. I remember the first few months in 2019 when we started our sabbatical, I had a panic attack because I had been so used to being just on the go, having to-do lists, probably having multiple jobs at a time because I was freelancing, and all of a sudden it's like everything stopped. And I was questioning, like, what is my purpose in life now? Like, what am I doing with myself? So it took a while for us to get to a good place where we were like, wow, this is amazing that we actually have this opportunity and we're able to take this time for ourselves. And in our minds, we were always like, January 1st, 2020, we're going to figure out the rest of our lives and the next steps and what we're planning on doing. And then March happened. And so it did give us that ability of that extra year. We've always really liked to entertain at home, and Peter's a really great home cook. Had never thought about, going into it professionally or culinary professionally. And so it kind of just like became this thing where we always cooked at home. His mom's amazing at cooking as well. So the first dumpling recipe, our best-selling dumpling to date, the pork and cabbage, is the one that we started with as our first flavor. And, I was like, take it slow. Let's just start with like one flavor, see how that performs. If people are requesting other options, we'll build upon that.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Started with 3 pizzas because it was like, and I went with the for my frozen line, which I'm not doing anymore. I decided it's not. I'd like to talk about this. But like having to have a variety a lot of times when you're trying to break into grocery, they want you to fit between
Shelf
the 2
space.
doors here, and then there's the top and bottom scenario, and how many pizzas wide? Is it 2? Is it 3? Wow, right? Competitive as well.
Mm-hmm. Very.
How many other dumplings are out there that are?
Yeah.
Are there a lot?
There's so many. And that's the thing is, I think also one of the things we realized when we were identifying if we wanted to start this company was there weren't any frozen dumplings that we liked. Like if you go to an Asian grocery store, there's like walls of freezers that have all of these different options, but they're all kind of just mediocre and they all taste the same. Mm-hmm. None of them are very distinct.
Yeah.
And like Peter always likes to joke, like our dumplings aren't like the ones you find at a Trader Joe's either. Yeah. And so we were really trying to find or fill this like white space that didn't exist for these dumplings that we were looking for from our childhood, which is why we started making them. And then to your point earlier of your question of how do we come up with a name, like it was like such a time of isolation during COVID. I wanted to think of words that really evoked a sense of positivity. So like holiday, vacation, summer Fridays. What's the best day of the week? Saturday. And Saturday is also the day that we did.
What was Peter doing when you were doing all of this thinking?
Cooking.
Okay, but that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Rolling out dough.
Yeah, he made all the food.
We know our part. We do.
No, and I was like, Saturday is a great name. Also, it also ingrains in the customer's mind the day that they come for pickups. We open pre-orders on Wednesdays. You come on Saturdays. You can think about that Saturday morning that you come. And then I wanted there to be like some sort of element in the name where it tied a connection point for everyone. So we named it Saturday Dumpling Club for a time where everyone was separate. It could still be something that can bring people together and unite people around this shared love. So that's kind of how we came up with it. And
it's a great name until the cease and desist.
Yes, we did get a cease and desist, which is why we changed the name. Yeah, there's a dumpling club in San Francisco, and somehow
who gives a shit?
They were able to.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Who gives a shit? They're in where?
Yeah. San Francisco, yeah. And they trademarked the term dumpling club, which I didn't know you could trademark clubs in general, like a golf club or a soccer
Seems
club.
Quite
Tennis
general
club.
to me.
Yeah.
We're going to call these people at the end of the show.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore.
It was it's a long story. Like it was this whole like year-long ordeal. We finally changed to Saturday Dumpling Company because at that point we had already kind of started expanding our product offerings beyond just dumplings. And I wanted to retain the initials SDC just because it was easy. And sure enough, like a month after we finalize this changeover, she announces that she's closing her business.
But she still has the trademark.
Yeah.
So, but by that time, you have a whole new website. We wrapped an entire truck.
Yes.
You know,
it's just so expensive
so
to have to
many
go through
things
these motions.
with these logos on your leg.
We wanted to name Maven.
Mm-hmm.
But different spelling, like Maven, M-A-V-E-N. It would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Some stuff happened. There's similar-ish business in town. The person was nice, but they brought it to my attention, of course, because they were slightly concerned. Because I have a bit of a reputation. They didn't want any confusion.
Yeah.
So, we sourced a different name, M-E-Y-V-N. I'm like, oh, that's kind of beautiful. I kind of like it. It's pretty, but we wanted it Maven. It meant the same thing. It was a proper spelling of the same. Ugh, what a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
I should have just named it Sheba. We were going to name it Sheba. Because that's what you put those, we were doing the wood fire.
Yeah.
I should have just fucking named it Sheba. Ugh. Decisions you can go back on. I don't have what you have. I understand what you say, but I don't have what you have, the way that you delineate. And, I talk through those scenarios like you do, but there's just a certain clarity and business clarity that you have when you say things like that, which I really fucking love. I know people are going to get a lot out of the just kind of the mode of thought that you have. Thank you for that. It was really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. The other word that popped in my head while you were talking was balls. Sorry, you guys got a lot of balls. It's a lot of balls. It's a ton of balls. And I know, so I said it 4 or 5 times now. I'll try not to say it anymore. We often don't know what we're getting into. In fact, I can bring experience into a project and it doesn't fucking matter. No. We have we have a script in our mind. We've written it, we've rewritten it. Once you open, it writes itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
It writes itself.
Exactly.
And I've had the great fortune of closing 2 places with like in a storied way, in a way that felt appropriate for what it was in the city. Like it was just, they were both very worthy places to have open and close, but you have to consider the maturity of your restaurant. You have to consider what it is when it opens. There is a honeymoon. There is a scenario where you're kind of, and it's very few people, we're restaurant folks now, so we don't have to like worry about it, but there's very few people that break through financially and have really sustained financial careers on this. But with a mind like yours and like a product that you guys do that does have that differentiation, a little familial twist that other people can't impart in their food, the quality of what you do. Like, yeah, there's a lot of dumplings. I make a good fucking pizza too, but it's not the only fucking pizza out there. There's hundreds.
Yeah. And
so, you do have to, within, things that people like a lot, that are their choice on, you have to have a special connection. The way you guys come together and what you provide each other in complementary components of your business. I worked with my wife for a long time. Over at Strip Club, we decided to be on the same path. We had our marital difficulties. We got through it somehow because of her. And then we got to the other side of this, and it was like, okay, we're gonna work together. It was a strip club, and she came over and we started working together. And she's just a plain old leader, so she would get in my way. She would be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do," and it's great because like I loved it, and I really need direction. I'm a dude, but also there were these moments where she was kind of doing supervisory stuff and had an opinion about it, and I was kind of like, "Bet, chill out." Like I'll make the decision, like, and it wasn't like dismissing her. Like I usually did what she told me. It was just, how we had those interactions and what we were talking about then when they occurred.
Yeah.
In stressful moments.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In the moments of some financial like scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we drank too much there too. We drank way too much there. There were all these components going on when we started to work together. But once we started going in the same direction and we got on that, we just love it.
Yeah.
We fucking love it.
Are you more the risk taker in the relationship?
I say that she is because she's with me.
Yeah. That's a great way to reframe it.
She's very, very strong and always said go. And part of it was she wanted to be a mom and kind of she really is a great mom and so with the serving stuff and working in the same thing, we were able to we worked together, but also she did some things when I wasn't there and it gave me time with the kids. Yeah. And I knew a Niver was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, so we got to find security in it.
Yeah.
After a while, it's beautiful, you know. But your kids are kind of like footballs, you know. You pass them off, and you're like, "I got them now. You got them now. I got them now." But and now, like, I'll catch her staring at me across the room when we're serving, and we just love each other, and yeah, for real.
That's
like,
so
you know,
sweet.
like we love each other and we love working together. This is, you know, like. I get it why you can't really call your staff family, or you shouldn't. I totally get that, but it just feels good in here. I don't need to say it, family. It just feels good in here, and our vibe is the vibe people pick up, and it's just really lovely when my daughter, who's so fucking expressive, but she's at the door. She's an Niver and she's at the door, and she's saying hi to you. Everybody loves her in her own way, and I'm kind of like, oh my god, she's wild. And then I'm like, that's mine. That's my, you know, like. But it becomes really like a symbiotic after you kind of work through how you talk to each other, and how you treat each other, and how you see each other in those moments of stress when it's, you know, run and owned by y'all, you know, like, and then the amount of. When you own something, until you own something, it's kind of hard to understand what it's like fully to commit and have to commit to making this entity go. You know, the full and utter responsibility of it all. Like it's up to you now, and you decide.
I mean, I think for us, it was a little bit of a slow build to that. I mean, I think once the restaurant opened, the last 6 months we've grown maybe like 10 years, I would say, just in our communication styles and understanding each other better.
It's forced.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. Our Venn diagrams.
There's no way.
Yeah. Our Venn diagrams always overlapped like perfectly in just the right amount, where like we travel really well. Like Linda is a planner. I kind of fly by the seat of my pants.
Green flag if you can travel with somebody.
It's
a big
great.
green flag.
Yeah, she'll do most of the packing. I have 1 or 2 things that I need to bring, or 1 or 2 places that I need to go to. Everything else is itineraried out, and that's great for me, you know? And it's great for her too, even though she says she does a lot of the work, which she does.
I do that. I do. Yeah.
But it's great because I like the control. I like knowing the flow of the day. And everything's on a spreadsheet, but there's huge gaps that are shaded in yellow. It's color coded, of course.
And I would never do it.
I would help me.
But like there's gaps where it's just like, this is, you know, free time. Like, here are 8 options we could choose to do during this time, or we could just like walk to the park and have a picnic instead. So there's a lot of that built in too. And the best part of traveling with Peter is he's always just like, yeah, I'm ready, like every single day. And he likes to wake up early to explore new cities, and I like to sleep in. So he'll have first breakfast, scope out the neighborhood, come back, wake me up, and then have second breakfast, usually at the same spots.
Does he bring you a little treat back from his first trip?
No, he comes to get me so we can go back together so he can have a second one. But it works out really well that way. But yeah.
No, so these complementary factors are so vital. And again, getting to know you a little bit more, hearing your voice and your business voice in that organizational scenario, which is implanted upon the business, is something I don't personally own that quality. I have to hire people to that weakness of mine.
Yeah. I don't own that either. So I trust her implicitly.
Yeah.
Right.
But that also, that because of that, you're able to do the Peter stuff. The stuff that Peter does. And like the individual Peter, like with some of the face stuff that you have to do. Like what's our next collaboration, or what's our next step? What's the next special we're gonna do? You're very good at that. Very good at some level of, it's like high class scarcity. We're gonna run out. We're gonna run out. We're gonna run out. Like, it's really cool though. It's like you create the excitement. You create a limited opportunity for people, and that's why it's tiring. But it's also going to be interesting how it evolves. Yeah, and that's exciting too. Yeah, I know you have a plan for that. For me, I open up a place and it's kind of like, let's go. I barely look at numbers. We have one meeting a week. I look at the weekly labor. I just don't have it in me. I'm really good at it when I know what I'm looking at. Yeah. But I manage on feel, and the last year I knew I had to reposition here with the way that I own this myself now. I knew I had to reposition with the quantity of managers that I had on board. I knew I had to time just became the thing that I didn't have a lot left of to make this absolutely critically, after say 9 years, a super viable business. But we kept investing. This place funded the rollout for Moochie's Frozen. We did all of our R&D here. We did all of, so for those first 5 years, we were fucking input like anything. It just kind of kept going in and out, in and out, in and out. And because when you try to scale, it's an empty hole that you are trying to fill appropriately. You don't want to have too much inventory, but they can't, their minimum order quantity is, 3,000 pieces. And then it's this and that to get that scale going, to find yourself in a store competing against the giants with marketing budgets.
Yeah. Isn't it such a delicate balance? Like, you want to provide your staff the hours that they're looking for, but you also don't want to overextend them and have them burn out on you either. And then so you chase after these opportunities to get your staff more hours, and suddenly it's like too much work before so you have to hire more, and then it's just juggling more personalities, more headcount. It just, like, the challenges are ever evolving. I think. Day.
And then you have a building to take care of.
Yes.
And things that stop.
And then when you decide to take on another project, how do you split and clone yourself? So there can be a Tim Niver at all of these other locations overseeing it, so you feel like you can still breathe. I think about that constantly.
I used to, 10 years, it's just so funny how it's changed. Like 10 years ago, I had strip club, I had dinette, and I had this going, and we were talking about, expanding again and having 3 places. It's not 3 times the work, because I've always had like those, I've hired so freaking well. And I really didn't want dinette. I guess I wanted strip club. Well, I was taught to be inobtrusive. Like really inobtrusive, not a service, not hospitality. So I never really cultivated like long-term, like investment, relationships with guests. I was more like just serve, stay out of their business. Stay out of it, just do you, do that. So it was more about the love, the way that it felt, than it was about me. And I never really wanted it to be about me. We were trying to promote chefs. The chefs are the hot ones. Those are the ones that get, the turn and the requests for media stuff, and they're the ones, that was kind of to put myself in the spotlight. It's very difficult. It's still very difficult, but you kind of have to like push yourself around a little bit within your business life to come out and figure out exactly what you're going to turn into. Plus 10 years, who are you in 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you in 10 years? Not your business. Who are you in 10 years? What do you want to do?
Right.
MRI felt like a great thing, and then, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. It's more like, hey, thinking about the maturity of a place and what you have in the tank and how you keep that tank full is really, really a difficult task for all restaurateurs. Your collaborative efforts, the way you two work together, and then the things how you connect your community. I mean, you're already in a way, you're already in. You're like, you saw enough to make the decision to open up a brick and mortar. Yeah. So I bet there's another one in the horizon.
Yes. We do have a couple of projects.
Yeah.
In the hopper.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter exactly if they're just like home base. It's really cool. The variety of things you can do when you get a home base and you do have like that settled factor. And then what can we do out of this amount of space and spread our wings. You don't have to say anything about your projects, but it's clear. It's a beautiful path for you. Just doing one isn't enough for what's going on. It's just not enough. For what you do, it's not enough.
Yeah. I think what really inspires us are all of our travels around the world, and just always wanting to bring that home to Minneapolis and share that with the community here. Like even the specials that we run, there's an element to it of usually it being something that we see online through Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, or things from our childhood that were just like, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about eating this in so long. And then wanting to share that so badly with the entire state. And so, like there's...
Did your families didn't know each other growing up?
No, but we kind of lived parallel lives and just didn't know of each other. But our parents had shared mutual friends throughout basically our whole lives. My dad got his PhD at the U of M. So we also lived in student housing while Peter's dad was a professor at the U, living in staff housing. Yeah. And we both went to Chinese school growing up at the same Chinese school on Saturdays, 4 hours every Saturday. It was brutal. But he's a year older than me. So he was one class above me. His classroom was right next to mine. And I'd never met him. We didn't meet until...
Vibes, though. You were sending them vibes, Peter.
Yeah, like invisible string theory, right?
See? That's a good call on the face thing. You guys have those vibes.
So, yeah. And then, diamond in the rough. This has been shaped.
That was the best. Hey, you done good.
Thanks. I found a good one. Yeah. We didn't meet until in our mid-20s. And Peter's mom was talking to one of her friends saying that he was dating this new girl, Linda. And her friend was like, oh, that's Tom's daughter. Like there was just like so many weird connections in this like very small Chinese community.
I love it.
Yeah. So
the Chinese community here is tiny.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely
to some like
especially like when we all were here in Minnesota. Like Peter grew up in Shoreview. I went to school through the Wayzata School District, and that school district is huge. Like my class was probably 1,000 kids almost, and I was one of 4 Asian people in my entire grade, and so there wasn't a lot of diversity, and I don't think there was at Mounds View for you either.
Not a lot. A lot of, I think, that generation's Chinese immigrants that came over. You either came over as a cook or a chef from the South. That's why we have a lot of Szechuan restaurants. Because there's a lot of chefs that come from that Fujian area to open up restaurants around here. Or you go the white collar academic route, which is what Linda's father did, which is what my dad did when the U.S. and China kind of opened up those trade borders and allowed PhD students to come over. And so that first batch in the 80s that came over were all academics, engineers, philosophy scholars and whatnot. So
that was the 80s.
Yeah, that was the 80s. And a lot of those people ended up in small suburbs because of, at the time, better school systems, and they could, barely afford that kind of lower to upper middle class kind of life. And all they do is, like our parents, like they don't take vacation. All they do is save. They worked in a restaurant coming up, all for their family, and saved and just spent it back into the family to give us the best lives that they could afford. And
now we're jumping back into the restaurant. Something
industry.
that none of them were.
Oh, when we told our parents, or especially my parents or my mom, that we were opening up a restaurant, she was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, she was like, what are you thinking?
She was like,
this is what we tried to prevent from happening.
How hard this life is.
Yeah.
It was like the frozen dumpling thing was like fun.
Yeah.
Like, get a real job.
Good job. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, when I decided to quit my
know,
full-time job, she was like, what? That was like the stability part. Like, Peter can fuck off and do whatever he wants because you're making the money.
Yeah. You've got insurance. You've got dental and vision. Like, what are you doing giving that away?
Joe's right, though. I think, again, getting to know you as people, this is just part of the journey. No. You're doing really well, and you can keep doing really well. It's only a moment, though. It's like it'll go so fast.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be in a path where you have things that you're adding, and it'll continue to add vitality and stretch that innovation. And I think we found that, or I found that word of mouth was how it started when I started. It was fucking word of mouth, like real face to face. You ever been to Moochie's?
Yep.
And it's really an interesting time, how you find your attention, how you keep the attention, and what it takes. But it's clear you two have an avenue. Family. Are your families similar with the way you brought up? Similar?
Yeah.
So,
Peter has a younger brother that's 8 years younger than him, John, who lives in Philly. And I have a sister who is almost 10 years younger than me, who lives here in Minneapolis. So yeah, like 2 kids in each family, grew up here in Minnesota, and yeah, like it's kind of scary
you're
how similar.
My mom is Catholic and Italian. And her dad was all over her about grades. Also about assimilation.
Yes.
They were assimilated. They were a coal mining family in southern Pennsylvania, came through Ellis Island. And Italian was not going to be spoken.
Yeah. Oh,
really?
Interesting.
You're trying to be alike, not different.
Yeah.
And if you're Italian, you can walk down the street and not look different, but once you open your mouth, all of a sudden you're different.
For me, I think I instilled that in myself.
Same.
In high school, just because it was 98% white, and you just wanted to blend in. But I think my parents, they didn't push me, but I feel like we spoke Chinese in the house, which
so grateful. I'm so great. I'm
very
like
grateful
that.
for
Yes,
that I still have. That I speak like a.
It's a gift.
I speak like a 5th grader, vocabulary wise, but my pronunciation makes me sound
spot on
Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I speak
I can't write.
No, it's funny because I can't speak as well. I've lost a lot of it, but I can comprehend when you're talking to me, but I can read and write. So between the two of us, we're 1 second grader.
Yeah. Yeah. We can get around.
I don't know any Italian, and it wasn't offered to me, and my sister went to Spain, so Spanish in the business angles that I was interested in import export. At the time I was graduating, and the world was big to me, and it was open to me, and America felt cool enough where I could be around. So Spanish, that's what everybody else spoke, the most people spoke that. So that's what I went for. And I know the language really well, and it's a gift. That's what I learned in college. I didn't learn much else. Sorry, like Dad for paying for all that. It's like $11,000 at the time, but like finding a language really just opened me up, and like I can go any Spanish speaking country, even Portuguese, and kind of get around. It's just it's a power. I wish I had Italian. I started Duolingo, but I was a little too busy otherwise. I think I will endeavor to learn Italian. And my mom doesn't speak it either. Okay. She's got words, she's got phrases, she got things her mom used to say, but they just, and her mom could speak Italian, but they just exited their lives. It's a part of my culture I really am dying for. Yeah, it is sad. Yeah. But that's what it is when you're trying to kind of find there's a new world. It was a new way of life. Yeah. I didn't never fucking been here. New York was New York at the time. They got the hell out and they went to a coal mining town. Yeah. For the same reasons people go to smaller towns. There's just not a lot of money. Yeah. Stories are same, stories are different. Like the reasons my family left were different than the reasons your family's left. But it's really nice to have that base. I'm going to interview my mother here today.
Really?
Oh, that's fun.
I'm going to interview my mom in a place that's named after her family.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's dope. And I just, they're here for my son's graduation. I'll let my dad sit in.
Did you tell her you were interviewing her? Or you just come by the restaurant?
Well, he asked me to come down here and watch this with you guys.
Okay.
My dad. And I'm like, I don't think so, Dad. I think it's better if it's just me. But I was driving down here and I'm like, oh fuck, they're here. I gotta get Ma on. Source code. Yeah. So that's what Stephanie March told me when I told her I was having my mom on today. Like, those things that are that come straight from them. And I let my dad sit in because I don't have questions for him, but I let my dad sit in because he's actually the hospitality part of me. He made Mom do the work. And I can see their complementary skills, forever. Mm-hmm. Forever.
Did they own a restaurant together?
No. She was an RN and an infection control nurse.
Okay.
Like clean. Yeah. Super clean. My dad was a superintendent of high school. Okay. So, superintendent of school district. So he was in teaching and then administration.
I see.
And, his job was all pretty much juggling students, teachers, and families.
Yeah.
His
Similar
whole
to
life. Yeah. Passing budgets, making everybody okay.
Yeah.
Balance, fairness,
putting out the little fires.
But also, he's a Marine, so he has some stature that way. Yeah. Former Marine. So he has some stature that way. That's also an important part of hospitality. Having a fucking spine. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And confidence. But, I'm going to ask her today. I think, Bob was the one that invited everybody over, and Audrey was the one that fucking cooked for everybody. I'm going to kind of ferret into that a little bit and be like, were you always happy to do that, Ma? I was like, fuck. But family is really, it's the source code. It kind of brings you in. It is also potentially the defining factor in your business. The things that you have is, say, personal secrets or like food secrets or just a way of, like you use a certain vinegar or you use, whatever it is. Yeah. Ours is Pecorino Romano. Like, I'm not afraid to tell you, like, Parmesan's great, but like the way our food tastes a lot of times and it's hard to delineate with our dishes sometimes because it's Italian, but if you taste a certain thing that's in our meatball or a certain thing that's in a certain sauce, it's pecorino. It has nothing to do with parm. Yeah. And that's just the way we have to have it.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that. I mean, when we're thinking about
it's a lot. We use a lot of it, but it's also like, that's how we do it.
Well, when you're like thinking about new menu items, I mean, we're always looking at new cookbooks and things like that, but oftentimes you just go back and draw from our childhood.
Mm-hmm. And ask a question to folks and be like, hey, how did you get this this type of sweetness? Or
it's like, this is what I grew up with. This is what it tastes like to me. And it's authentic to me. Yeah. And I love it. So I want to put it on the menu and might have a couple modern twists or a different plating or be on a different vehicle. Mm-hmm. But
you have fun with your presentation.
Yeah. At the end of the day, this is kind of true to me. Mm-hmm. That's kind of
And you can stand by that then, right? Like
Sure.
even if everybody else says this misses the mark for me, or this isn't something that I necessarily like, every time we eat it personally, we're always like, fuck, this is so good. And those things, that noise matters so much less.
Well, you want people to understand it through your eyes, and that their idea of that, I tell the story a lot. I used to go over my best buddy Steve Youngberg's house, his grandmother's house. Fuck, can't remember her name. What her last name was, the Italian part of it. But she made a tomato sauce, right? Everyone makes a fucking tomato sauce, but hers was different, and it was looser, and it was pork-eater. Yeah, and then my brother-in-law's mom made a straight pork sauce, ribs. It's greasy. She skimmed the fat off, and it was again really thin, and it was just like a little ladle of this really meaty sauce, and she did it her own way. Yeah. So like tomato sauce has so many different faces. It's not that one sucks. Exactly. It's like, this is a different style. This is how we did it. This is where like what was available to us in the suburb you lived in when your mom was making these dumplings is very different from, say, at home or whatever. Exactly. So like those are some key elements. Yeah. People pick up on them too. If it's different, it's different. If I can go to Diane's and have a croissant over there, how different and specific that is, and it's not her only talent. They want to be recognized as a restaurant, not as a place that's just sweets. Right. A bakery, but then you have to take the nod when the New York Times calls and says you're one of the best bakeries. Like you got to go. Yeah, right. Sure. I don't know. It's all very exciting. You guys, you talked about your gap year. I think I'm in a gap month or 2 or 3, and it's really nice to kind of see the light for a minute, to come up for air for a minute. I recognized what I was doing to my body. Like once you slow down a little bit, you can tell what the wear and tear is. Yeah. So I've been recuperating. So I understand the beauty of that gap year, and it probably seems like a long fucking way away right now, like a long time ago. But like you guys keep that traveling thing going. I saw you in Philly, and I wanted to talk about it because Philly's got a vibe. There's a couple areas that are super dangerous and really whacked out in Philly, but there's also like a super vibrant food scene. And some of the stuff I saw you eat out there, I'm like, it's great. What's the difference between Philly and Minneapolis? Why can't we do it like, say, Philly does?
We have been talking about this quite a bit because John, Peter's brother, has been trying to convince us like, oh, you guys should really build an SEC outpost out here, which I mean, we would love to do just to be closer to him and his wife and their new baby now.
Coming fall 2025.
But it's beautiful. It was already scary building a restaurant in a market that we're both so familiar with and grew up in. I can't imagine what it would try to be like to break ground in a brand new city. But what we really loved about the Philly food scene is just how flourishing it is. Like you'd go outside on Tuesday at 5 p.m. and every single restaurant would be packed. I feel like here in Minneapolis, I don't know if it's because of COVID. I feel like part of it certainly is because like during COVID, restaurants started closing Monday, Tuesdays, that it's really changed the mindset of the consumer to only come out on the weekends. Like
dining out is a weekend activity.
Yeah, like dining out is still very heavily driven by Friday and Saturdays, and a little bit on Sunday as well. But in Philly, it's like any day of the week, any time of the day, everywhere seemingly looked pretty busy. And it wasn't just like a lunch rush or a dinner rush. Like it was really steady all day long. And what was really cool about Philly is that you didn't really see a lot of chain restaurants. They were all like mom and pop shops. Like certainly there's big players in the restaurant game in Philly, like Mike Solomonov, with Zahav, Laser Wolf, Dizengoff, Goldie. Goldie is a chain of his now. But like they all had their very distinct personalities, and it was so cool. Like
and they execute.
All of
Why
them.
does
none
food
of them
look
are
different in
none of
another
them are
city?
gigantic.
Why does
either.
the food look different and better in another city sometimes? Is it? Do they execute? Do they really execute? I'm not talking about everybody's restaurant here, but like just the way the city has its personality and how people are out there trying to like. Sounds like people are striving. Sounds like people are thriving, and like they're also like the city's alive.
I think when the city's alive and people are coming out to dine, it gives you that buffer to buy the better oven, make your own pitas. It gives you that profit margin to play around with. So all of their restaurants are decked out. The vibe in there, it's all so different. The branding is super on point. Even if it's like we went to a place called Little Water. The exterior was this kind of old colonial building with a couple of windows, and you walk inside and it looked nothing like what it was outside. It's just gorgeous, And so I think when you have a public that, prioritizes dining on the weekends, not only just for dinner, but also for lunch, their demographics, they're just a bigger city. I think they're it's just denser. They're like 3 times as big as Minneapolis, but
and closer to each other. Right?
Exactly. But their downtown is alive.
People are working in offices. Still
and then
suits,
the hospitals right there.
Yeah, the schools there. They even converted a couple of buildings after COVID into residences. They I'm sure had the same issues that Minneapolis is facing with, low occupancy for office buildings. And, we're currently trying to figure out what the hell to do with these massive buildings that nobody is in. Everybody's working from home, And so, walking around there was, really nice restaurants and really, just walk-in restaurants.
Yeah, we went to this neighborhood bar called American Sardine Bar, and it was
just like a dive bar.
Yeah, but they had the best food, and they served this one item. It was it a sardine or an anchovy sandwich?
Just like a sardine sandwich.
It was $3. It was a little slider, but it was like the most perfect thing for that venue.
House cured sardines, and shred us. It was delicious. So there's a bunch of places like that, and it's supported by the neighborhood, and it's like.
I was talking with Marcus Samuelson last week, or a couple of weeks ago, and I did interview him last week, but a couple of weeks ago, and what happened? We ended up talking about the vibrancy of these two cities and what it'll take to get us back. And people have to start really not giving a fuck for that to happen. They really have to activate downtown, take really big chances, make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
We need our innovators to innovate. We need them to press, and they, it's a time where you think about opening a restaurant. It's really hard, but it's a really important time for restaurateurs to press. Like, you can see what the financial outcomes are now of all the last 5 years. That the cities are at their highest minimum wage rates for a while. Things have settled in there. You're kind of looking at the pricing of things around town. You're like, well, shit, I can pretty much charge whatever I want as long as people come, But we need people to take these chances and fill these spaces. And we need people from the suburbs who, over the last 5 years, have had a burgeoning scene of different kind of independent and now smaller chains that are taking care of people just the way they want to be taken care of. They filled in the gaps between the suburbs and the cities. We're seeing our restaurateurs move out to the suburbs to captivate the business that's now not here. They're moving to it. We just have to do things differently and be a little bit, the badassery is here, but we just need to do something to light the fire again. And maybe I shouldn't have said light the fire again, because I know a lot of the unrest here, the uprising, was very much a part of this too. I would not ignore it. COVID was a thing, but I just think there's more fear around what happened with Floyd than anything else. And I think that exasperated a scenario And now folks are kind of like, why would I go downtown? And we need them back.
Mm-hmm.
We need them back. It could be simply that there's just less workers, and so you start at 2 on a level out of 10 instead of 6. When you have people in the offices. But when I hear about vibrant dining scenes outside ours, even though it's in major cities, I get a little pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is happening here for us not to be having this energy? We have all the players. We have all the people we need. Mm-hmm. It's just like the guests have changed so dramatically here. We're still hanging on to shit that we need to let go. You need to go to your cities. You need to go to your downtowns, and you need to push for vibrancy. Period.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
We need more support in order to get some of these people that have these brilliant ideas wanting to start these businesses in a place where it's actually viable for them to do it. Right. And I think that's not only just like the guest having more customers come through the doors, but like support from the city, the state. I mean, banks are scared of the risk associated with starting a restaurant.
Yeah, we all feel a little afraid to recommit.
Right. And then even just like the hoops you have to jump through if you apply for an SBA loan, which is why Peter and I decided to self-finance our first restaurant, just because it wasn't worth all of putting our house as collateral and all of the things that they require of you. And the interest rates are astronomical right now too, so that doesn't help either. Like everything is stacked against someone who is trying to open a new space in the cities right now. Yeah. So,
we talked about how when we opened before we got on the show here, how at the Bellagio that the first month of the restaurant we served 20,000 people, and how that kind of bludgeoned me into understanding how I needed to act and there was a little me that, because it was so hard and there was so many people looking at me or whatever, and it was a big project, that it was really difficult to kind of stay a leader when you're getting smacked around like that. Right. And I get a feeling that the leadership of these cities and the state really are just trying to be careful. They're just trying to be so fucking careful. They're holding on to their hearts. They're holding on to the energy. They just don't want to make a mistake, say the wrong thing, pops the wrong balloon, and we have some sort of another problem on our hands. And I think we're all just hanging on to it. That's sad. The city deserves more. And I was at Lynette. I'm going to give him a shout out. I saw Ben. I had a very lovely time there. I said, Ben, the city's lucky you're doing stuff. The city's lucky that you're putting concepts out in the world. I know it's fucking hard. I know you're working a ton of hours, but the city needs it. It's the energy in the right neighborhood with a beautiful idea about it. Then you guys can do this. Come on. Thank you for doing it. I need you to keep going too. When I mentioned, say, your next projects, I saw a little gleam in your eye. I'm not going to dig. What are the benefits of working with Shay?
We didn't.
I thought I read an article where you worked with Shay.
No, we had a meet and greet with them, and they very lovingly joked and said, like, we are the dream killers, because they came in, looked at a space that we were interested in. Yes. Yep. And gave us a quote, and it was the first one we'd ever received an estimate on for the build out, and it was
freak you out
very high. Oh yeah,
but it was spot on.
Yeah, it really.
And they usually arrive at that number on their own.
Yes, and literally it was like back of the napkin math for David. He threw out the number like 15 minutes into this meeting. Like didn't even need to like have all of these line items out.
No, he was just in the space, looking around. He was like,
okay, these are all the things you still need.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be $1 million.
And we were like, $1 million? We sell dumplings that are $15 a pack.
They sell a finished product.
Yes, they do.
They sell.
Yep.
You want to pick that?
Sorry.
Yeah, no. That's right. They sell a finished fucking product, which is something I think I struggle with. Like, you open your place and so there's like little things, like you're small, and so it's like little things. I'll get to that. I don't have a sign. I don't have a sign here. 10 years, I don't have a sign. I do have a sign. It's from the Moochie in Minneapolis, and it's in some garage. But I need to put it up. But it's work. People walking in like, well, how do you find this place? I'm like, I don't know. You're here, aren't you? You know?
How did you find?
Oh, really good job then. You know, like. City took away parking restrictions over here, and that helps us a little bit. City did for us, it's really hard to cultivate an answer after some of that. Really, like, what has the city done to provide support for businesses, activate, streets, help restaurants where there's construction.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things that I just feel like, there's no offering. We're out there on our own sometimes. So for us to have the balls, or you two to have the balls to go do this, is really admirable. Nice work.
Thank you.
Let's see what else here.
I wanted to add one more point. Shout out to the new third space spot in Uptown that replaced Paper Source, Muna Muno. I think Uptown has been suffering for quite a long time now, but Black Walnut, which we love, is still there and thriving.
Dope.
And Muna Muno opened a month ago.
Okay.
And I've been back.
I don't know that.
Oh.
Muna
Muno. So MOONAMOONO. I believe the owner's name is Angie. And she just had such a clear vision for this space. It's they sell beverages, kind of like bubble tea, but not much more elevated beverage program. And then lots of Asian American housewares. And then a really nice area that's just communal space for people who want to bring their laptops in. But I see how much foot traffic she's helping to drive back into that neighborhood. And it's incredible to watch and witness, because it really does take someone that has a beautiful idea that they are confident about to come into a space and say I'm taking a risk, but I want to do it here. And she's killing it. I think she's doing an incredible job. And it's, you see it with the long lines. We had to leave one day because we were meeting some friends and we didn't have time.
Absolutely, crying about how things go, not a young Johnny. Being in Uptown. I'm sorry.
Kim's.
Yeah.
It's just so hard. It's such an investment.
Yeah.
It's we buy the building, we're trying so hard, we're trying to build it.
Yeah, and Anne's been supporting Angie through this whole new endeavor, and
I suspect, that helps.
Absolutely.
It helps. It's it's still the neighborhood you're involved in. It's still, no matter what has happened, good, bad, other, it's still the neighborhood you're involved in.
Yeah, but I mean, it takes places like this where it really does help break through all of that noise and the misconceptions of I don't want to drive to Uptown. The traffic is horrendous. And it is, right? You still have to reroute yourself through the lakes in order to get to this space, but it's worth it. It's cool. I want to be there. Peter couldn't stop sipping on this drink, even though it was gone. He finished it and he refilled it with water just to get the little last bits.
I love the shutout. And that's it. That is the innovation we need. I've really had brain space that I have now, it gets filled very quickly. And I was like, God, why can't I just go to these empty restaurants and do pop-ups and, try to get the neighborhood ignited and make it an incubator for somebody and then walk away. And, we got all the ideas, it's more how do we just fill the space smartly and or highlight it so that somebody can see it again in a different light other than what it was when it was, Mears Park, somebody going over to Handsome Hog or whatever that little place was on the corner there. Barrios maybe getting somebody in it. But just a pop-up, city-sponsored pop-up. We're going to do 3 months here. We want to show you the city. We want to Niver's going to do this and we're going to bring other chefs in and look what you could have.
Yeah.
It seems so kind of tied up in like old thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's been always like one of our goals and our mission with these collaborations that we do too, is how do we get more people introduced and build awareness around all of the cool types of food that we have to offer, and like turn them into these Frankenstein dumplings.
But meld. It's a meld, and it's beautiful. You did some work with over here in St. Paul at the soccer stadium, right?
Yeah.
How fucking cool is that? Would it, being a guest chef and like having your name out there and all, like the stadium fans and a sport that you like, how fucking cool is that?
Yeah. I mean, the first couple were very nerve-wracking for us because we were like, dumplings aren't really something that you would think of as like a stadium food. It's not a chicken tender or, a slice of pizza or whatever.
Is that the whole point?
Right. And so I think, for us, the first question is, are people going to be receptive to what we're offering? And you always hope for the best. And, now we've been at Allianz Field a handful of times, and it's still like almost a sigh of relief after you see the line start building of people waiting for your food. I feel like we're still in this constant state of like, when does the other shoe drop? Like, when is the day that everyone's going to decide they all hate dumplings? But it hasn't happened. And obviously we're trying to do everything we can to only spread more love around dumplings. So yeah. And I think a part of it is also like understanding what is that sweet spot between offering what is true to you, what's authentic to you and your upbringing, versus meeting people where they are as well. Mm-hmm. And so, beyond just like our traditional flavors, obviously we've like, veered into this really fun space of creating these super cool collaboration dumplings of, a beef birria with nixta, and the braised beef dumpling that we did with Gavin.
I had those through somebody else. Like, people have them in their
freezers.
We're gonna have these. These are the Gavin ones or whatever.
Yeah,
that's so fun to hear.
I know.
Yeah. Like it is.
Or even
or
like,
they bring them as gifts.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've gotten your dumplings as gifts.
Yeah.
It's so dope.
We were
That's
at
incredible.
like Target the other day, and Peter always has his SDC shirt on, and the person that was being rung up next to us asked us like, "Oh, do you work for the dumpling company?" And I was like, "Oh, actually, we own it." And she's like, "That's so cool. I was at a dinner party the other night, and my friend had your frozen dumplings in her freezer, and that's what we had for dinner."
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, that just makes me want to cry.
It's inspiring.
Every time I
It's
hear
really
it.
cool. You need to hear those stories of like support. You need to hear those stories because it actualizes it in your brain. Like, people are really enjoying this. And like you say, you're waiting for the lines. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Some people just make good decision after good decision. That does happen. Some people do. I know you laugh, but some people do. And like, you see them, they shit gold bricks. Some people do. You don't know. You may, looks like you're onto something. Just have faith in that line. All right. Have faith.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll hold on to that.
I don't know what you're doing. Like, I would have the same fear. Like, I don't know how to do what you do, but it looks good from here.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I think for us, it's always a gamble. There's always so much risk associated with what we're doing too, because when we started initially, we were seeing what was happening with the traditional restaurant model, which is why we decided to go the frozen route and pre-ordering, because it eliminates all waste, food waste, because everything's frozen. And pre-ordering allowed us to understand better exactly how many people were interested in the product. So then we could try to hopefully fulfill that demand with the supply the limited supply that Peter was making all by himself, until I could help after hours, after, I clocked out from my other job.
I appreciate that work so much. It's like free.
Yeah.
It's like you're hoping, and it feels like you're giving away time free.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're just like, you don't know if it's going to work.
Right. Yeah. And, from that, we continue to always like try to look at the industry from honestly,
non-industry eyes.
Yeah, like the perspective of like two individuals who didn't come from the industry, who didn't grow up in it. And in a lot of ways, like I always say, like, gosh, I really wish that I'd like worked in restaurants more to like understand more of the ins and outs. But all of our friends are like, but that's the beauty of how you guys approach your business is you aren't approaching it from like that mindset of a traditional business model and what it should be versus like creating something that works for you now or like for the industry now.
Yourselves and what your talents are.
Yeah.
And we dine out a bunch too, so we know kind of like from our perspective what is efficient from a diner's perspective that we would like to see. Like some of these QR code menus are so huge. If I want a beer, it's at the end of the menu. I have to scroll to, order my drink and do it again when I need another one, right? So, I mean, part of why SDC's menu is like ever changing but pretty limited is because we do have those kiosks that, limits front of house labor, but also provides this, neat little package for anybody to walk in off the street and just kind of
boom, boom, boom.
Scroll at your, if you want to be fast about it, if you want to sit there and debate with your partner what you want to eat, it gives you that freedom to do so.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's on your own terms.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of the beauty is when you get to operate on your own terms. You don't always know what the terms end up being, but it does, you're like you're doing it the way you want to do it. And it doesn't have to be my old ass way, like what I learned 30 years ago and how I feel like I need to open up a restaurant. It's completely different now. It's new attitude. There's different technology. There's different ways of doing things. Techniques and things have changed, and the efficiency quotient. Choice is the fucking devil. Like having too much choice.
Tell me about it.
It's ruined us because now we want, is this all you have? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you hear that, but just not here because people just want pasta here. They're like, fine. But like when you try to do something limited or things that aren't definably entrees, appetizers, middle courses, like we don't have a lot. I'm like, we don't want to have a lot.
Right.
We don't have a very specific, it's focused is what it is. It's a focus menu. It's not small. Focused.
Yes. And it's intentional.
Yeah, it's intentional. Well, hey, this was great. It's really good to get to know you. It was always fun to hang out. I see you fun. I see you at parties. Christy and I are starting to get over to Minneapolis more. We're taking advantage of our time. We've been to Berlin. We've been to Lynette. We're still kind of like winding into some of the places. It takes us forever.
Yeah.
But
still on the Vespas?
No, they got stolen last summer.
No.
Yeah, we had them out.
Shoot.
And I was like, I didn't lock it up. It was up the driveway. It's up a long driveway sitting there. I didn't have mine locked up.
Oh, man.
And I get up and I go out with my key and I'm like, where did I park it?
Yeah, did I mispark it? Yeah.
Dude, where's my moped? And I realized it was fucking gone. And so I reported it. And then we walk out the next day and Christy had hers locked up.
Yeah.
The next day or the day after that. And it was
gone.
gone.
Oh my gosh, that's the worst. That happened to us. So we didn't have, they looked like mopeds, but they were electric bikes that just like looked like bulky scooters. And they were locked up in our underground parking spot. So like secured. We went out to grab groceries, came back 30 minutes later, and I realized that they were no longer in our stall. And so they must have like bum rushed when the garage door was still open after someone got in and clipped the lock, loaded these two heavy ass bikes up. And this was like very early on when e-bikes were just becoming a thing. And so we had like the batteries that were in the seats where you had to like pull the whole thing out and plug it in. And like, they're never going to be able to ride these. Yeah. First of all, they don't have the key to unlock the seat. Secondly, they certainly don't have like the outlet that plugs into these ginormous batteries. It was so sad though, because we
Yeah.
loved those things. It was just like so fun to be outdoors whenever you wanted.
Yes. There was a moped stealing ring that got busted shortly thereafter, by the way, and they recovered our
Oh.
mopeds.
Oh, so you got them back?
No, because they were damaged enough that we were like,
What's going on?
I
Dang.
mean, I might as well go get another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
ever replace it?
No.
Yeah. We didn't have it either.
Because it was a mode. It was a mode in a minute. We bought them during COVID and we loved it. But you kind of did it less and less and less.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we were like, should we get electric bikes? And it's like, to do what? Go to Restaurant Depot,
Yeah.
Costco Business Center, and it's like,
Get a
Yeah.
trailer.
I mean-
Tow that fucker. Like, it's not a kid in there. It's like lumber.
Yeah.
And like, tile.
I do miss COVID in a lot of those ways.
Yeah, it's
though.
cool
Like,
when people say that.
yeah. Like
think
it was
it's
just
really
like such a time to like reflect and feel just like chill out a little
Mhm.
bit, you know?
If that was the way that you had it during that time, that worked for a lot of people, and they were able to make good, clear decisions because
Yeah.
they had perspective and time
Mhm.
to understand that that perspective was true, not just some fleeting thought.
Yeah.
I admire what you two do. That you do it together is a trick,
Thanks, Tim.
and best of fucking luck to you.
Thank
It's
you.
going to be interesting to see what you do because it's a non-traditional path. I love it for you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
Thanks for being on
Yeah.
Niver Niver Land with me.
Thanks for
What a
having
fucking
us.
treat. Have a great day.